Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Mike. Bianca.
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Happy New Year.
How is everybody
Happy
doing?
New Year.
It was an interesting New Year. I walked around and I started asking everybody, hey, what'd you do? Nothing. Hey, what'd you do? What did you do?
My sister came out. My kids came. It was good.
Oh, good. So
And
how
we
many
went to
people were in the
beach.
house?
Do infants, little people count? I don't know. 2, 4, 6, 8.
All right. Okay. All right. Good. And Adam, how many people did you have in your house?
We were hunkering down.
So there was 2 of you guys?
Yeah.
Michael, you didn't do anything? No? All right. So a bunch of us didn't do anything. But at the same time, you know what? It was a good year to just realize where we're at and chill out and kick back and all that sort of stuff.
It was. It was.
And I have to admit, it was definitely the most quiet one I think I've ever had. But I did sit back and I did build. I finished my complete goals, everything, purpose, mantras, financial plans, building our team, life in review, material goals, spiritual goals,
That's
all
fun.
the stuff that we all get to do on Thursday.
I'm very excited.
And you know what? It took me pretty much a full day, but it's so cool. And I think all you guys will agree. Walking into the new year, having your complete plan done feels so good.
Can't wait.
I know. So I'm really excited. And don't forget, for everybody, it's this coming Thursday from 9 to 11. All the books are going to be emailed out to anybody that wants it. We're going to have text 2 codes so you can call in and have it sent to you. And that way everybody can have it printed and ready to go. It'll be the best 2 hours we spent.
Love it.
Okay, good. So let's see how many people we got on today. Hopefully we got a few. Yeah, well, 38. We'll take it. It's a start.
Yeah.
It's a start and growing, so all good. So I was thinking, good morning, Sonia.
Good
morning.
morning, Chuck.
And
How are you?
Sonia, what did you do? What exciting stuff did you do for New Year's?
Oh, what exciting stuff. I watched the ball drop in New York. Does that count?
Well, that's at 9 p.m. Pacific, so that sounds about right.
Oh, we were in bed by 9.
You were in bed by 9. Oh, okay. So, all right. All right, I like that. I like that. Brian, did you do anything fun? I know you must have done something. You got a big family.
No, everybody left.
All right.
And then so the Hawaii kids left, and the Marietta kids had colds, so we didn't want to change.
Oh, well, yeah, stay away from that.
So I updated my database. That's what I did.
Good
for New
job.
You
Year's.
know, I'm going to be honest with you. Look at people clapping and stuff. That makes me
That's
happy.
good. That's impressive.
That makes me
Yeah.
happy.
Oh, sorry, Brian.
I spent 10
Exciting
hours.
stuff, Brian.
Oh, so let me understand
Very
this now.
exciting.
Your coach told
It
you you
was
had
10
to have it
hours.
done by midnight. And so there you are at 11:59, finishing your database.
Exactly.
I love it.
You get a bonus point.
I love it. I love it. Well,
New Year's Day.
I do want to say, though, I mean, I would assume, especially if you're in the sales industry and depending upon the industry that you're in out there, 2020 ended up probably much, much better than we probably ever expected it would. In terms of the market, in terms of where we're at in our lives, in terms of the fact that we're not in soup lines, I mean, all those different things, it really turned out much better than I would think most of us would expect. So, that being the case, I'm really excited. I always get excited by New Year just because it really is that opportunity to reset your life and reprioritize your goals and go back and say, why is Jenny here? What am I supposed to do? Why am I not doing it? How can I build a calendar and add in that all that fun stuff? So you're going to be under analysis today, Jenny. All right? You just didn't know that. You didn't want to talk to me this morning because you thought I'd ruin our mojo.
Oh, God.
So you didn't get any prep time at all. So we're going to work on that. But I wanted to jump in and, I was thinking, and this is the worst way in the world that I could possibly start this out, but I don't care. How many of you guys have ever watched, because I'm all into Netflix documentaries and
Yay,
stuff right now.
finally.
And I know, I'm addicted to documentaries. And, my son says, oh, you watch more old people stuff? But I don't care. All right. And if you guys haven't watched it, I watched the Frank Sinatra documentary on his life. And it is cool to track the people that really made an impact. And I say that name and every person on here knows who that is.
Yeah.
And I could probably say that name, and I'm talking about, kids that are, my sons knew who they were. I mean, you got 16-year-olds, you got 18-year-olds, you got 60-year-olds. So he made a big impact, but I was just, so obviously, when you watch one of these documentaries, you get a little into their music temporarily.
Yes, true.
So I just listened to My Way. And again, like, everybody knows I did it my way, but that's all we really hear. But have you guys actually ever really spent the time to listen to the lyrics to that song and how potent it is?
Not the whole song, no.
And because back in the day, Margaret had a client, and he lived in New York. He was an Italian guy, and I remember at his funeral they played that song, and it's really a song written about your life and when you're coming to the end and looking back and seeing, do you have regrets? All those sorts of things. How did I live? So would you mind if I read some of this?
No, please
Because I think
do.
it's really
This is
great.
my favorite type of thing. I
All
just
right.
remember it says I had a few.
So My Way by Frank Sinatra is written by Paul Anka. But here it is. It says, and remember, think of this as a song when it's coming to the end, and he really was. He was coming to the end of his life when he sang this, you know what I mean? But so here we go, My Way. It says, and now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway. And much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do. I saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the way, and much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and I spit it out. I faced it all and I stood tall, and I did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed, and I've cried. I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing. To think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way, and now, as tears subside, Okay. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not. To say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. I thought that was
good.
super cool. I mean, do you guys, does that emanate with anybody else? I mean, and if you hear him singing, he starts out real slow, you know. And now, and by the end, he's like,
Yeah.
and I stood tall, you know, and you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, go baby, you know what I mean? So you could tell as he starts to move into where he wanted to go with his life. I mean, he took the blows, he stood tall, you know, and I think there's lessons in that for all of us, because it's easy for us to get timid, but you know, when you know what you want and where you want to go, it just makes life a lot easier. So anyways,
True.
had to start out with that. So I'm starting this year with my way, and that's a lesson to everybody, that we really need to do things the way we want to do things, find our purpose, go get it, stand tall, and fight to get there. And
Okay.
that's the lesson that I got from this.
Okay.
Anyways, I was going to jump right in. So if you recall where we ended last time, it talked about really finding out where we want to go and the things that we want to do, you know, in the next chapters of our lives, you know. And again, some people are younger, some people on the call are you know, just ending the first quarter of their life. Some are in the second quarter, some are in the third quarter, and some are in the fourth quarter. It's just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only in the first quarter because I'm going to live to be 185 years old. So for me, I'm in
You
the first
never
quarter.
know. We could.
With
The way
today's modern
science-
medicine.
I don't know. Right?
You never know.
No?
And it talked about how sometimes it takes some tragic thing to happen that will
that's right.
realign and reset where you want to go, you know, and like those people that they lose a friend and then they just quit everything and they go travel the world for a year, or they go do what they want to do. And I was thinking, instead of us having to go through that painful stuff of somebody dying or us dying,
Yeah.
what if we just made the decision that, what would we do right now if you could do anything that you wanted to do? And do you know what that is, Jenny? A lot of people don't.
No, I don't know. There's so many things. Like, how much time do I have?
Well, you know what? We could have Sonia on a call right now, and she could really get into your head. Or you can say, like, the real thing in all of this purpose stuff is, and there's a whole exercise in the book that we're going to
good.
do on Thursday
Cool.
that asks you, you know, I mean, here's a couple questions you're going to be filling out. What are your superpowers? And I think everybody needs to answer that question. And that's one of the questions we're going to be asking, like, what are your superpowers? And we all have them. I see everybody on this call. I see Vicky, I see Brian, I see Rob, and I could almost tell you from the outside point of view what's special about each and every one of them. And do you know that yourself? So Jenny, as everybody knows, everybody loves Jenny. You have a great personality. You lift everyone up around you. That's your style, right? So that's one of your
Thanks.
superpowers.
Thank you.
Right? So you're going to list out what are your superpowers, and then you're going to list out, you know, what do you enjoy doing? If you could be doing anything, okay, maybe it wouldn't be here, maybe it would be somewhere else, but if you could do anything, what would you like to be doing that makes you happy? You know, I mean, for some kids, it's video games, but
Right.
I don't know, I think about that, but hey. And then, you know, what do you enjoy about your career? You know, and whether, and we have, I know that there's been people, friends of mine that have called me that are teachers on the call, people that sell plastics, you know, all kinds of stuff, but you know, if they're good, there's something they enjoy about it. You know, and I would
Doesn't
ask,
matter how much money you make.
it's true. And I'm going to ask them, you know, what do they enjoy? And then the big question, ready? Sonia, here's the biggest question I think you can ask. This is it. This is it. This is the biggest question in life. Ready? Why are you here on this planet at this time? Do you know why you are here on this planet at this time? Why are you here? And I think we have to figure that out. And there's an exercise in here that I did the best I possibly could to try to get that purpose of why we are here and what your job is. And then if you figure out that purpose, plug in and charge. You know what I mean? Those are the lucky people. You know what I mean? That really get to figure that out. So we're going to work on that. But anyways, so am I getting too deep?
No, and I have to share something because I'm obsessing on something. And some of you all watch Masked Singer because we've talked about this before. But Paul Anka was just on it. And he was just on the show that's on now.
My way.
Yes, who
How
wrote
funny.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's still around, still doing it, and I thought that was really cool.
That
So
is super cool.
all of you who watched that with me,
That's
you
funny.
saw that.
Yeah, and he's a genius. I mean, really.
Yeah.
So, so again, like I'm just really excited about this year because I really want everybody to find their purpose. And you too, Adam. I want you to find your purpose. And your purpose is not just harassing me every morning starting at
I
7.
was going to say that is my purpose.
No,
you know,
that is
my
not.
speed for Frank Sinatra is more send in the clowns. Can we cover that one next?
Send in the clowns. Well, hey, Michael. Oh, well, we won't even talk about it. All right. So my question next would be, you know, is there a place that each of you guys have as a thinking place? I went up to my buddy's house up in Silicon Valley this weekend. This is where I spent my New Year's is doing this. But like, is there somewhere that like you can really clear your mind, and that you could think, and that you can really take the time to do the things? And maybe it's somewhere in your house, or maybe it's like, is there somewhere that really clears your mind where you do your best thinking?
I was thinking about that, and I used to. Well, actually, I usually try to avoid thinking at all costs. That is part of my biggest problem.
Adam's really good at that. Sonia's like, what?
Drowned out the bad thoughts.
Amen, brother. That's truly who I am.
You just don't want to overthink.
I don't want to overthink. Actually, I don't want to think. I know.
No, you just like, does that mean that you like to be in a routine?
Well, don't make me be in a routine, though.
Oh my God. Poor Jeremy.
I know, it's awful because he's like, let's do this, that. And I'm like, oh, no, but. No, I think I do like a routine. What I'm learning is I have to take the outside noise out. Like I used to always have to have music, TV, something all the time. And now I'm learning to not have that so I can hear my own thoughts. And actually, that's how I did manifest this job.
Really? That's very interesting. I mean, that's interesting. Well, and again, it's just the way each one of us' brain works.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking, a little story. It's a little bit off topic, but I went about 2.5 years ago to the Orange County Fair. And for those of you guys that have been to the Orange County Fair, probably because of the way I was raised, like, whatever, there's the rides, there's the throw the this, there's the, the people that like win the giant stuffed animal at 9 o'clock in the morning and I got to carry it around until 10 o'clock at night because they're morons. But there's all kinds of stuff. But I always find my way to the psychics.
Yes.
Because I'm a lunatic.
Yes.
And I it's always fun. And I'm sure, and you know what, all you judgies out there, you'd like to go to the psychics too. Tell me more about my favorite subject, me.
Yeah.
Right? That's the best part. You pay 30 minutes for somebody to talk about your favorite subject. You.
Yes.
So, but it was really funny because I went in there and I was a very stressful time in my life. I was there for a concert, but I was in a very stressful time personally. And I went in and they, you kind of like whatever person, they bought from the tempe to come be a psychic for that day, they assign you to. And the girl that I was assigned to, I sat down and, just kind of like, you always like try to act like you don't know anything about me to see it, I don't know, just this weird thing. But she told me, she said, whenever you are, in any form of stress or situation, and she said, you need to get near water. That's kind of what her suggestion was. And it was funny because I just started tuning out of her and tuning into all the other people that were sitting there. And because, you always want to hear what people are talking about, right? Because they probably tell the psychics some crazy stuff. And almost every time there was stress, they were asking them to get near water. Now, whether it's a lake, a stream, anything like that, that's the general place that's supposed to, and I think it all goes all the way back to biblical times where like jumping in water or seeing water is like a cleansing of the soul. You know what I mean? But so that's just one of the things that she said. Wash away the negativity, all that, and start over. So how about we consider this show and this book to be our cleansing?
I love it.
We're gonna get rid of all this old stuff.
Yes.
Sonia, I saw you writing some stuff, and I'm assuming you may have some good stuff for us. What you got? Fire.
Well, yeah, I love what you started out with. I had never really paid attention to the Frank Sinatra song "My Way." And it really touched me. So I have to say thank you, because I try to do it my way. And I'm not always successful because I'm not always right, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But
Sorry?
I really felt that was strong. When you said that we need to look for a purpose, I think that's an ongoing thing. It isn't something that happens overnight. It's something that we grow into as we develop who we are and what we have to offer. I'm anxious to do that exercise with you because I think it's going to be very powerful for everyone if you can begin to look and think about why are you here? Where are you going? What are your purpose? And there's more to life than what we're doing on a daily basis. So I really like that. Jenny, we need to talk. If you don't like to think, I think we need to talk.
I'm really working on it since I worked with you a couple years back. I think that was kind of the turning point. But thank you. We will.
I think you're sitting where you are because of some of the things we talked about then. So congratulations on making it happen. And finally, Chuck, when you talk about water water is one of the elements. It's also very fluid, and it gives us room for understanding where we're going and what we're doing. It's not hard. So water is powerful. I love to be by the water, whether it's a creek, a river, whatever. So
True, true.
those are some of the thoughts that I was thinking.
Sonia, like, and it's funny because I always spend most of my time, and I've decided to break these up now, because I used to spend my time focusing, when we're trying to do purpose and stuff, I spend all my time focusing on the financial plan and how much money you want to make and how much savings you want to have and, all that sort of stuff. Don't boo. We're all salespeople. Right? This is important. And originally, it's funny because I asked Adam months ago, to change the beginning of the show because it looks like it's all about money, but I guess he's too busy to do it. And that's okay.
So
I know you're busy. He works an hour a week. All right. So, but anyways, the kicker is I broke them in half now. Like business, money, and all that stuff. That's in a bucket over here, and our life and our purpose and our stuff's in a bucket over here. And this bucket should be big, and the money bucket should be small.
Because
it's important.
If we're doing this, and this is what you taught me, and Sonia, if we're doing what brings us joy, the money is going to flow every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time.
It's true.
So if it's not flowing, you definitely have a blockage, and you need to be doing this thing on Thursday.
And I like that because, like I said, when you watch these documentaries and when you see things like Quincy Jones, who, helped produce and arrange Thriller for Michael Jackson and all the Frank Sinatra songs back in, the early days and all these guys.
That.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest producers of all time music-wise. But these people that know why they're here, these the Black Godfather and people like Quincy Jones and all these different people, Frank Sinatra, like they are so dedicated to their purpose that they work 16, 17, 18 hours a day on their purpose and nothing stops them. It's like their motors and batteries are so big, and I don't think it's because they were born with these powerful motors and batteries. It's because of the purpose and the passion that they have towards what they do. You know what I mean? So they're fortunate enough to know what they want to do. And when you know what you want to do and you have a life purpose, go. You know what I mean? And we have real estate agents inside the company that I think work those kind of hours and they love it, and they're able to still balance their kids and do this and that. But really that means that they found it, their purpose, their passion. They like real estate. They like helping people.
Yeah.
The teacher that's home at night working on their stuff and decorating their classroom after hours. And, that's because they found their purpose.
Exactly.
What a gift.
It
What a
is.
gift. So, and that goes on to the next thing here, which is finding what fits you best. And when I say finding what fits you best, this talks about taking good care of yourself, in terms of your body and your shell and all that sort. How we basically, the sad part is to keep that energy, to live our purpose, we got to take care of these shells. Yeah. And, this outside, and to nurture our souls and what's inside, it's not just about eating right and all that sort of stuff, but food and all that stuff is important, but self-esteem is also important. And that's what I'm more and more learning is, mindset and self-esteem are everything. And a lot of times you guys out there, and I know this, and Sonia, I think you'll appreciate this. Most of us, especially at the high top producing level, are spending more time taking care of other people. They're spending their time
100%.
taking care of their clients. They're spending time taking care of their significant other. They're taking time spending, on their friends, on their family, on everyone but themselves. And then the next thing you know, you've burnt your battery out, by taking care of everyone else and not fulfilling your soul. So one of the things that I liked about the suggestion in the book, this exercise for the soul, is that it says, write down everything that you do in a day. Write down everything that you do in a day and track it for a week. And then sit down with a friend or with someone else and say, okay, let's look at everything that I did. Now, if I look at everything I did, how many of those things were for you? That's the real question, is how many were specifically for you? You went to the gym today. That was for you, although it secretly might have been for Jeremy. Okay, but I'm just saying, how many things are you doing for you? That's the big question. And I think when we look, oftentimes, especially, maybe when your kids are gone, so now you can do a little bit more stuff for you, but,
It's so hard because, and I'm sure men feel this as well. So please, men, chime in, because I know as women and wives, mothers, aunts, whatever, we feel so that we have to take care of everyone else. We have to take, it's selfish. We've been raised, I think. We were raised, it is selfish to take care of yourself. Do you all, ladies, do you feel that? Like people, like Vicky, do you feel that that's how we were kind of raised? It's selfish to take care of yourself. So I think we're really trying to flip that. And I think that's really hard. I don't know if you guys were raised that way as well.
Well, times have changed.
Jenny?
Go ahead, Sonia.
Well, I was just going to say what I find is so much easier for people to take care of other people. It's a little bit more challenging when you begin to look into yourself and start taking care of yourself. That's when you feel selfish, because now you're taking care of only you, and you're not paying attention to those around you, and you feel it's your job to make everybody happy. Which,
I think you just described a man's midlife crisis.
yes,
You know what?
I think I did.
Yeah.
That actually be what may be part of what drives men to finally be like, you know what? Kids are gone, this, that, whatever. I'm gonna be selfish. Like I have no idea. I'm gonna get that sports car. I'm
Right.
gonna, and we look at it as like, oh, they're just, like this crazy douchey guy. But at the same time, they're like, wait a minute. Like
No,
I
wait a
have
minute.
backburnered everything that I've ever done.
Yeah.
But again, now, man perspective, woman perspective,
I wanna
right?
hear it.
And the women. But I agree. I believe, and I think most of the guys on this call, Duffy, Rob, all you guys, women, I would say, work much harder than men do on trying to balance all of the things that you have to, because you have a whole additional set of
I
responsibilities.
think in general that is true, and I'm not taking anything away from what the traditional males have to do either, because that is a lot. You guys have a lot of pressure. I really think we need to flip this.
Yeah, it's almost changed though. The world has changed, because I know Brian, and I've watched him parent and stuff, like when we've gone different places and everybody, and I would say that like the roles are, like the traditional roles are disappearing.
They
And
really are.
They
are.
I made the lunches, I took my kids to school, all that. It's just like the world is changing to where I think it's just stress on everybody now, equally.
Maybe that's part of the problem.
Hey, Chuck.
Yes.
Hey, I think to Jenny's point, I think there's so many of the traditional roles, but I think you're right. I think a lot of that has become, those lines are not so stark anymore. It's more blurred. I think, but I still think that I agree with the notion that many times ladies, especially those who have children, grandchildren, tend to put everyone else ahead of themselves. And that's one of the things that we've been talking about in our home, is that's not healthy. I want my wife to take better care of herself so that she's happy and feeling self-fulfilled, and not just constantly running around solving my problems and Katie's problems and, the world's problems.
Right. Agreed.
I think Elise put it quite nicely in her comment, was we need to learn self-love. That is very well said, Elise. Thank you for sharing that.
And like you said, it's easier for us to love everyone else than to love ourselves. I think we're hiding.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's funny, Sonia, because that leads into the next section.
Okay.
And that is giving yourself gifts is what this next section is called.
Like purchasing?
Well, see, that's the first thing she thinks of. But yes, it
I'm all
actually
like, collect.
It is. Well, and it talks about, figuring out, and this is part of what we're going to be doing again on Thursday, but what do you desire, and do you deserve it?
I deserve everything.
Do you?
Yes, I
Okay.
really believe, and we all deserve everything.
Okay, good. I like that. So
Jeremy hates when I say that.
really, well, of course, he's the man. That's his job. So, I need that. But the kicker with this one is, it goes back and it says, because a lot of times people may not have your answer. Do I deserve it? No. And that goes back to what Sonia was saying. It's the self-worth and it's the self-esteem, where people actually believe they don't deserve certain things. So, for example, did your parents make you feel worthy? There are, and I can tell you what, the older we get, the more you start looking back at the way you were raised and thinking like, damn, some of that stuff can jack you up.
Jack you up. We were talking about that this weekend because my sister was there, and my daughter, and I see it in my kids how much I screwed them up, and me and my sister are like, "Oh, how are we as okay as we are?" It's so true.
But again, it goes back to I can take, you can take the way you were raised in certain ways. and I think you can see this in six people too. You can take the way you were raised and you can use it as an excuse, or you can take the way you were raised and you can use it as fuel. You know, it's one or the other, but really you can see some of the self-esteem issues. You know, remember I told you I was going to work on some things like with me. So I talked to somebody, and the first thing she said is, how's your relationship with your mother and father? And I told some stories from like when I was 7 or 8 years old that I didn't even remember.
That's
and
so
boom,
good.
they came out. And I was like, what in the world? Again, I love my mom and dad. They're fantastic. But there are some things that you can't help that have effects, you know? And I always too, and maybe you'll agree or disagree, but I think when people look back in their lives, there's some very powerful memories that onset you in your life. And I always think that there's one around like 7 or 8 when you first start to become a little bit aware of the world. And usually there's some that like 15, 16-ish when you have another view of the world. And then you spend the rest of your life having those moments. But do you have a couple things that happened in your youth that you cannot shake and you can't stop thinking about it? You know, incidents that happen with your parents, with families, with life, you know, do you have some of those that can't shake them?
No, and it's like and the ages, and it's so sad. And I think 7 or 8, that's when my parents got divorced.
Mine too.
Yeah.
My second.
And then I did it to my kids. What the hell?
Well,
and you're supposed to cleanse that past life too.
Well, you know, here's what I said to my kids. You know, like when I got divorced here a few years back, you know, or a couple of years, I said, look, you guys have had it perfect, and I had to give you guys some issues. So this is what I'm doing. I'm sorry, but you can't be perfect at all times. All right. It's the only reason I did. I'm kidding. So, anyways, so give yourself gifts. And like we were saying, Sonia, you know, and what this suggests is in the book that we're going to be going over on Thursday, but material gifts. Creating your purpose. What spiritual gifts do you give yourself? And then that ties into the other things that work about, you know, purpose, financial, economic. I still think that you can what you want, and that's what it is. It's about figuring out what you want first, why you want it, which is the purpose, and then building a plan to go get it. Right. So that's going to be what we're going to do.
I love it.
This next one was, I'm going to hit this one quick, but it talked about creating a routine. So Adam will start this show. Right? This whole Monday motivation thing is Adam. And he said, you know, I want to do a project. I want to do something that we can put a message out there. And I told him that, like, the good part about this is we do a Monday morning meeting anyway. So this works. We already had a routine. And so with your food and with your exercise and with all those things in your life, you have to build a routine into your life so that you can continue to do it. You know, like I was talking to my trainer on Thursday, and he was telling me, he goes, you know what I have my wife doing, you know, because like they're all into fitness and stuff, is every morning when she gets up, she goes to the end of the bed and she does 50, where she leans her feet off and does 50 crunches, where she pulls her knees up to her stomach before she even gets out of bed. 50 in the morning and 50 before she goes to bed. Okay. And he said to me, he goes, Chuck, that seems like nothing. 50 in the morning, 50 before I go to bed. He said, but in 1 month, that's 3,000 crunches.
Ooh.
So 50 in the morning and 50 at night ends up being 3,000 crunches in a month.
That's
so
fun.
That routine is a perfect example of, if you just got up and did that, the next thing you know, you're in a routine. Coming in on Monday morning, you came in here, you were here, you're ready to go, you made your stuff, you're sure your stuff was ready, and now here we are. So it talks about same things with like building your food and prepping your food for the week. What if every Monday night, that's when you prepped your chicken and your vegetables and your rice and did all that sort of stuff? Especially, I don't know about you guys, and I'm going to ask you guys, Vicky, this is for you. And Vicky's always looked great, right? Vicky's always looked great.
Always fit.
And I don't know if you food prep, but if you knew that it would make you feel better about yourself physically, would you eat the same thing every single day?
You're talking to me?
I'm asking you, Vicky. Would you eat the same thing every single day?
That's my routine.
Let's hear your
I don't
routine.
really vary.
Well, and I'm not gonna give away Vicky's age, but let me tell you, she looks much better than her age. And you've always taken good care of yourself. You've always gone to the gym. You've always done those sorts of things. What's the secret?
I think it's intention. And I think somebody said it earlier, I don't know if it was Sonia or you, Chuck, self-esteem, I think is really important. And I think during this, I've noticed myself this past 9 months, and I was sharing with Tom last week or so, that, you know, I go to the gym and I hike, you know, maybe 3-4 times a week with pre-COVID and after COVID more. But I don't have it. I kept thinking, I didn't do the gym stuff at home because I kept thinking the gym was going to open back up. And I got on the scale before Christmas, which was a mistake.
Don't cry.
And I had gained 3 pounds. It snuck up on me that I didn't. I knew I could feel it, and I thought, you know, I started getting really negative about what the hell's going on. So, this not just New Year's. It was I had to be purposeful, and that's my new word for this year is purposeful and intentional. And so yeah, you're right. The routine has started. Now it's an exercise. I don't have a gym. I'm going to create the gym at home with whatever I've got. So
I like it.
But I think self-esteem is really, really important, and having a system.
And again, that's from a lady that's been successful forever, been a top real estate agent forever, always looked great, And no matter what issues we're going on with, if we at least pretend we look good on the outside, we're good,
I had the catch-22 this morning. I texted Jen Elmer because I'm like, I don't have time to work out and look good. I don't know what I'm going to do. Because it's a lot. And I'm like, screw it. Just make 15 minutes and then do some weights. Don't do a full thing just because I have to start my routine.
Right.
As I hate a routine, and you've said it a couple times, I am going to do a routine.
Okay. So moving on to the conclusion of this section. So understanding that, our self-esteem is everything, taking care of ourselves, our routines, it says, if you love yourself, you will feed yourself properly and make good lifestyle choices. Think about this.
Hurt?
I know, but isn't that
Why
funny?
does that hurt?
Isn't that funny that we know it's going to kill us? We know the snacks and the fast food and all that stuff are going to put us in an early grave. We know that it's going to shorten our lives, yet we continue to do it. And I'm guilty. We're all guilty. Isn't that crazy, though? So, but, by eating right and trying to do that this year in 2021, which is what I think we should all try to do, it will, help us avoid dying.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
It'll, we'll enjoy life a little bit more. We'll live a longer, healthier life. We'll have high energy. But it's still good to have some chocolate ice cream once in a while. That's okay.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do that. But, just so this new year, it just talked about, well, again, I just was relating it to this, but just having that routine. So we got to set up powerful routines.
I like it.
We have to. Because again, 50 crunches in the morning and 50 crunches at night is 3,000 in a month. That's the one thing. I can't get that out of my head. You like it?
Good. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I wonder how many other people hate routines, and this is going to be a challenge for them. I really do. Like, nod your heads if you hate routines. Nobody's. Oh, Carolyn Humphrey. Okay. Brenda Lou. Okay. Vicky. Okay. I feel better.
Okay, good. But let's do it. Okay, so here we go. Here's where it really starts getting good. This talks about, and I feel like the issue is coming in self-esteem for the new year, but it talked about inner dialogue, and I'm only going to take one little piece of inner dialogue. And it says sometimes when we're exhausted and we feel stressed and all that sort of stuff, sometimes we just need rest. Agreed? Sometimes, I can say some stuff in the evening when I'm tired that I don't even mean, and it just comes out, and whoever's near me is getting it.
100%.
And that's just the way it's going to be. And sometimes it's just rest. And oftentimes, though, it's part of a larger problem, right? And it just suggests that we have to work that out in our brain. If you're having problems, this suggests saying it out loud and talking. Like, I'm really pissed about what happened yesterday at the office. To me, it sounds like a psycho. But my kids will be like, hello, Dad, you okay? I'm fine.
No, that's a good idea.
I know.
That is a good idea. Not to anyone.
Yeah, just talk it out larger. And by doing that, it tells you what's really wrong.
Oh.
So and I just wanted to do a quick on that. But the next one, and here's what I'm most excited about. We're okay. Chapter 9. This is what I love. This is the chapter of the title for today, Adam. Be inspired. Okay, be inspired. And there's a quote, and it says, when you're inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bounds. Your mind transcends limitations, your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself in a great new wonderful world. And you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamed yourself to be. And that's from an Indian sage from the 4th century that wrote that. He's basically saying that when you find what you're supposed to do, the whole world opens up. And it's hard to find. It's hard to find. But I believe that if you take your God-given talents, what you enjoy doing, what makes you happy, integrate that into a schedule and a routine, you probably can find it and you can do it and you can invigorate and inspire your life. And that's what chapter is all about. It's just kind of opens your mind to generate enthusiasm for life. Is by finding just those things that make you happy. And I think, and it doesn't have to be work, and it doesn't have to be, for some people, I see people riding around all the time on mountain, and, they're getting in touch with nature, and they're cruising the mountains, and they're doing this and that, and you can tell they're inspired to do it. I don't understand it because it looks like a lot of work, but for them, they love it.
And I always get they're going to get hit. That's all and that's not,
Okay, but I understand. So true inspiration overrides all fears. And when you are inspired, this is what I thought was cool, it puts you in a trance-like state that allows you to be capable of doing anything. And I think when people, like, again, documentaries, if you watch, these people that, and there's a lot of documentaries where, like, some of the greatest albums of all time, they focus on the making of that album. And you can see these guys are, or women are on a mission from God and inspired to do that, So, Sonia, what are your thoughts on the power of inspiration? And, and it doesn't just have to be that, but what are your thoughts on people finding their purpose, and what gives some people the giant batteries and some people that really don't have them and they're in bed by 7 o'clock?
I am up at 5.
Why is everything about you? I wasn't talking about
Because you give me the face. Sonia, he gave me the face and it was rude.
Sorry.
Did he? Yeah. Okay. Well, it's so interesting because there's so many ways we can go with this. Finding your purpose does get you out of bed. I know that's something I talk about often in coaching is what makes you do what you do. Why do you get up? Why do you make, Vicky, why do you go on those hikes? What makes you do what you do and why? Finding the why is the hardest part. And then once you find your why, you can begin to understand where you're going and putting the purpose out there. I'm anxious again to go back and listen to where you're going with all of this, because there's so much depth that we could go into. Right now, you're giving us the surface. If we begin to understand ourselves, the self-love, the routines, the priorities, putting all this together, it's an awesome way to start out the year. The thing is, on June, where are you? Are you still on the same path?
Right.
And that's where the accountability comes in too.
Well, and again, the majority of the people on this call are in real estate, right? I mean, there are a few people that tune in. I know for a fact, some buddies have called me and stuff like that.
Right.
But the question is this: are you inspired by your real estate sales career? Which that's a big question, I think. Okay, are you inspired by your real estate sales career, or is a means to the end, which is it gives you the capabilities and ability to go do what you're inspired by?
Exactly.
So the question is, which one is it? And I think, in the top, and so I look at, the Zings that were making $1 million, when they were in the 60s and stuff. Was it their love of the business and they were inspired to do that and to help people? Or was it because they really love that boat that they sit on down in San Diego? And, you look at Jennifer Murphy, who, she's done great business forever. Is it because she loves and is inspired by the business, or because she wants something else? I ask your guys that question yourself. Is this a means to the end, or is it the means?
And it's all okay.
Right.
There's no wrong answer.
For sure. But that's what we got to kind of identify, is what is your inspiration? So, and one of the other things it talked about is when your heart speaks to you about what you want and why you're on this planet, you can actually leave things for generations and generations and generations. People, How to Win Friends and Influence People, like that book has stood the test of time. It's been over 100 years. It's still jamming, so they left that mark. And when we really look at people that have inspired, it's Gandhi, it's Mother Teresa, it's, Martin Luther King, it's Helen Keller, it's Rosa Parks, it's all these different people that have left these giant marks, on life. And the situations they were in also drove to that as well. But like, what marks can we leave? And what could we, if we really knew what we wanted to do, and what inspires you? Does anybody on this call, like, hey, Rob, I'm going to ask you real quick. Do you know what inspires you, man? Do you know what makes you the happiest, and why? And if the answer is, I'm still working on that, that's cool. But do you have any idea?
Yeah, what makes me happy is, I guess, going and seeing how other people are. I like to travel a lot, and I think what you were saying, I'm gonna try to turn real estate into a means for me to get out and see, like, other cultures and other people, and try to photograph it, and take some of that back into my own life. If that makes sense.
My favorite part about that, Rob, is what you want to do.
Yeah, and he's young.
That is exciting.
Yes.
That is exciting. How about you?
And he's doing it. I have to say, Rob had a coaching call with me this past week, and he was in the middle of the New York on what street?
Yeah, I was on Fifth Avenue.
And what was the degrees?
32
it was 32 degrees, and he stood outside for an hour and took a coaching call because he's doing what he wanted to do, but he's also staying focused. And I was totally impressed that you even showed up. So Rob, you're on the right path. Good job.
I love it. I love it. And Brian, I'm going to ask you the same question. And again, if, you know, I mean, and you've had a life, Brian, you know, being a retired, you know, peace officer that you had purpose, right? And I think when you retired from the CHP and when you moved into your new career, you had to redefine your purpose in a sense now that you're into real estate, you know, and obviously you're doing great, but how has that been to transition from one thing to the next? And have you been able to find your inspiration?
Well, I found my inspiration because I'm still doing the same thing. I'm helping people. You know, that's what I really enjoyed about my old job. And then I found that in this job. Yeah.
And the success has come along with it for him. I mean, he's doing really great because, and that is the secret. Hey guys, that's the secret to life.
Yeah.
That's the secret. You ready?
Yeah.
It's not that complicated. Help people be better and accomplish their goals. I'll never forget that Zig Ziglar quote. And Sonia, you probably remember it, hung in one of our offices for 15 years. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's basically you can have everything you want in life if you help everyone else get everything they want in life.
Yeah.
It's pretty much that simple. You know, and doors just open and things happen, and you know, you're not going to go down in flames because, you know, the karma of the universe rewards you for that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
yes.
So anybody else have anything that they'd like to share about kind of what inspires them? And how about you, Duffy? Give me the 30-second clip to what inspires you. Bring it.
Well, we had an interesting conversation, Sonia and I did on a coaching call. And, you know, a lot of my inspiration is driven by my wife, not her, you know, telling me what to do or forcing me what to do or getting on me. It's wanting to provide her a wonderful lifestyle and a great life. And she worked so hard to take care of me and all of our kids and grandkids. And I love her so much. I want to serve her and make sure that she lives a lifestyle, that we live a lifestyle together that we enjoy.
I like that, Mike, and I believe that, and I like it a lot. And you know what? I'm gonna pick on a couple other people too. Yes.
Chuck.
Yes.
Pick on Kristen Cook.
You know, it's funny because that's who I was just gonna pick on. I see her holding her coffee right there.
Excellent.
She's got her black rim glasses.
Yeah.
And Kristen is
she's pretty awesome.
Teacher and real estate. So and Kristen, when you turn your eye at all to real estate, you jam. That's just what happens. When you turn it over here, she does great. But what about you? Like, what inspires you and what kind of things do you want to get done this year?
Well, I think, you know, I've taught since I was 23 years old and I've enjoyed every moment, but my whole inspiration is the fact I want to retire and then make this my second full-time career, kind of like Brian. And so just, you know, that's just kind of my goal. And so I started working now so that in 3 years, when I walk out of that school for the last time, I'll have somewhere else to walk into.
Love it.
I like that. I like that. And I have no doubt, Kristen, you know, we've watched you, and you're gonna be amazing. And you wanted to share a lesson learned?
Thank you.
Brian?
Yeah, so, you know, the old career, so at the end of it, you know, everybody shoots for retirement. And, you know, I was going to take a year sabbatical. I think I shared this at one point, but, you know, that's what everybody does. You know, they retire to a life of leisure. And I knew that wasn't me. And so when I retired, I was going to take a year sabbatical and then study for my license. And what happened was I was into it 4 months. I was surfing. I was just, you know, doing stuff around the house. And I was absolutely depressed. Because I didn't know, that wasn't my purpose. And I looked at my friends, and, you know, we do these retirement breakfasts and it's like, I'm looking around and I'm like, the guys that retired to a life of leisure, they're aging fast. And, you know, and I was like, Sherry finally goes, you know, you need to go do something. And I go, I am, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, right? I'm retired. And then it only lasted 4 months. But, you know, I went into this thinking, you know, like, you know, let's see how it goes. But then like I said, when I found out that this job is totally about helping people, and at the end of the transaction to see their faces and, you know, their thankfulness that I knew it was for me.
I love it.
And that's why I knew the first transaction I was all in.
Right. And it's worked out good,
Yeah.
and it's funny too, because, Brian, you're a young guy. And again, I'm going to say this again, people, this is not a world where you're out of the game anymore in your 60s,
No.
or your 70s or whatever, because I know for a fact that the top producers hit their strides in their mid 60s. That's when they hit their, and it's like, just think, Brian, if you'd retired in your 50s, in 20 years sat around and surfed and mowed the lawn, and gone on some trips, you're right. I mean, all of a sudden, what's the purpose? Just self-fulfillment of riding a wave? And that is fun. Hey, you know what I mean? I like to play golf. I like to go dirt bike riding and all that sort of stuff, but it definitely doesn't fill your cup in the big grand scheme of things.
But if you listen to the world, okay, my friends, I had a lot of friends telling me, like, what are you doing? Why are you going back to work? And I was 50 years old, and I'm like, I needed a schedule, Chuck. I was so stoked when I retired, because I didn't have to answer to anybody anymore. But then I realized, sitting on my sofa watching Fox News at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, I need a schedule, So that's when I opened up the real estate book and started going at it and actually making a schedule,
Right.
Brian,
And I needed that. I did. I needed to have, like, I guess I needed structure. If not, I was going to be the beach ball in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
well, the other thing, Brian, you really wanted was growth. You had stopped growing. In
Sure.
your previous career, you were growing every day because you never knew what to expect. And then you basically stopped growing by sitting on the couch doing whatever. So
Yep.
I think you'll see a lot of people take on a second career to continue a growth in areas that they really are passionate about.
And the cool thing, sorry, go ahead, Jane.
No, I was just gonna say, so many people on this call, this is their second or third career. And that's what Carolyn is up front on mine. This is her second gig, and Derek Stevens, and I don't know if it's on the call, but I'm just thinking of the people who came to us during COVID, and this is their second gig, and it's fun. They gotta, I think that's really cool.
Absolutely. And agreed. So I do like the fact that he said he needed a schedule.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say, he was in the office every day. He did treat this like a job. And it's funny, because he was talking about, I was looking forward to, not having to be there at a certain time and not having to follow, the schedule that he had to, in the peace industry and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden you miss that. And I'm going to go way off topic real quick. People succeed, people choose to go into real estate because they don't want to have a boss.
Right.
And then people fail in real estate because they don't have a boss, because you have to be your own boss. So transitioning from another career, for example, and I think this is, in a lot of industries where you're a self-starter, whether you're in medical sales or any form of rep sales. But it really is true that you also have to reset your mind and reset to create a schedule that's going to create that success. But I think today's purpose is make sure that your purpose, if it's not just sales or not just teaching or whatever, is also built into your daily schedule.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to make sure of. And that's what we're going to work on Thursday. So anyways, though, got a couple things that I wanted to hit before we are out of here.
Okay,
It's only
go.
9 minutes left. So the next thing is role models. And you guys know that I do this exercise here every single year, where I ask, who do you surround yourself with? And, who is your, Sonia made my list. But who is your spiritual accountability partner? Who is your family relationships, your moral compass, your health and fitness, and all that sort of stuff. And I've always asked you to list out who that is, So who would be, your money and riches friend that kind of advises you on your financial situations or whatever. Everybody. So you're going to be putting together who all these people are. But I think it's also more important to look at, why did I choose them? And what about them makes me want to have them in my life? And so, so I could look at my moral compass person, and why do I feel that person should be that way? And so in the future, I'm going to have them list out reasons of why that person belongs there. So we're going to get there. But that ties into this next section, which is role models. And who are your role models? And of course it's, hey, who do I surround myself with? But it's also, who do I want to emulate? And unfortunately, in the society that we live in nowadays, it's about superficial qualities that most people are addicted to. It's about physical, material possessions, Kanye West, the Kardashians, you know, all of this different people that I don't know that it's their inner moral compass or desire. You know, I was talking to Ira, my trainer, and he was telling me, he's like, you know, I have a lot of respect for, you know, people like Quincy Jones, who opened up the African American Museum. He did the big kickoff with Oprah there and everybody. But he was telling me, he goes, I don't have a lot of respect for two people. You know, he's African American. He said, but I don't have respect for two people in the world. And I said, well, who are those? And he goes, Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods. And he said, I have no respect for those two people. And I said, well, why would you not have any respect for those two people? And he said, because Tiger Woods had the world stage. All eyes, Japan, Korea, Australia, anywhere that was, you know, had access to a television knew who Tiger Woods was.
Right, true.
However, Tiger Woods has done nothing to propagate a cause or help the world or fight for, you know, for his particular, he's like, he has the chance to fight for the African American community and make a stance and be somebody big. You know, he goes, so I can't stand that. And he goes, Michael Jordan, one of the richest people in the world stage, no one could play basketball like him. The mark that he's going to leave is nothing but money. Not, you know, so no opportunity, you know, so he goes, so to me, he goes, and kids idolize them, those aren't role models.
I love it.
You know, so I don't know if you guys agree with that or don't agree with that, but that was his take, and it stuck with me. Because it's like, if you're given any form of a stage at all, you have a responsibility to promote a purpose. And in everything we do and in everywhere we go, you know, Vicky, you are, you know, the head trainer for a company of 300 people. You have a responsibility to, you know, create purpose and to make people better. And you know that, and you're great at it. You know, it's Sonia, so are you, and so are a lot of people that are out there. And I'm just pointing out and picking on a couple people. But so again, our current culture tends to idolize people based on material possessions and physical beauty. However, we need to realize that material goods and all of those sort of things are not the key to happiness.
No,
they're really not.
They're not.
And the other problem with seeing attractive people and successful people is it makes us feel worse about ourselves. You know what I mean?
1,000,000%. Sometimes don't you just have to get off Instagram, like, because you're just like, it's breaking your soul.
That's breaking your soul. Really?
Oh yeah, I'm sure, right? That would say, haha, people.
Yeah.
It does. You're not on as much as the normal person.
Yeah.
But it does. It breaks your soul, and you just have to. Comparison is the thief of joy. Get off of it.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
My old trainer said that.
I like it. Comparison is the thief of joy. I like that one. So
she stole it from someone too.
Of course you did. I made that up. As far as I'm going to start saying that all the time.
For sure.
Yeah, it's
for
mine.
sure, for sure.
So people who inspire us usually have inner beauty. You know, I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, I was addicted to John F. Kennedy. Just addicted to his speeches. Like, I thought they were so amazing, you know. And I'm not talking about the basic, you know, ask not what the, you know, but I'm talking about, like, if you really get into his speeches, like, the guy, you know, wanted the United States to be the light, the moral compass that, you know, sets the tone for the whole planet. Like, wow, that is wielding your juice. You know what I mean? To do something good. But I'm sure all of you guys have people out there that have inspired you as well. When you think of those people throughout history that have inspired you, you know, who are they? And I see Rob shaking his head. Do you have anybody, Rob, that you're thinking of that inspired you throughout life, like a role model? Anybody sticking out to you?
Honestly, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then I kind of got into every book that Robert Kiyosaki put out, and I just applied that. So I want to meet that guy, but he's kind of like one of those ghost mentors, you know?
Yeah, he's made an impact. He's made an impact. Anybody else? Sonia, when I say that, who inspires you, you know, throughout history or time? Anybody that you were addicted to at any time?
Well, I was thinking of that, and because my life was kind of a vagabond, we moved a lot, and even when I married, we continued. I think of people who were in my life that weren't famous, but they played such a powerful role in my way of looking at the world. And it changed whether I was in El Salvador or I was in Central America, and even as recently as being in Alaska, learning from them and being inspired by their challenges and how they meet it. Living in the jungles of Paraguay. I mean, There were so many challenges, yet there was so much happiness. And how do you find happiness when you have nothing? I guess those were my mentors. Those were people that I looked to and learned from.
I like it. I like it. Vicky, who are some of your role models that kind of inspired you with their inner beauty?
You know, I think I like Sonia. I just think as I journeyed through life, and I'm still learning, and I still have mentors. I meet people. You know, I met a lot of people at CAR that I have a lot of respect for, and I have been mentors. There's been times where in early 70s and 80s, with the different women's movements and things like that, and I've had women that have mentored me and inspired me. And so I think it's where you're at in your life journey, those people that come into your life and those that you want to be around. Just like you said earlier, I want to be around positive people. And I can tell you that because I just had a conversation with my sister yesterday. I don't talk to but once a year. And I reminded yesterday why I don't talk to her but once a year, because of the toxicity. She's so toxic that I have to get away from that. I was depressed after I got off the call. So yes, surround yourself with positive people that you are inspired by, that you continue your path going forward, whatever that is for whatever. And I want to say something too, that what I love is helping not just my clients. I'm very fortunate, and I'm grateful to you, Chuck and Margaret, that I have the ability to help agents and help the company and do what I'm doing with the company, because that's my purpose. That's part of my purpose, is to see others be successful and to learn this business that I love.
And you're good at it. Carolyn Humphreys, can you unmute yourself and just let me know, who has been your major inspirations, whether it be, someone on the world stage, or what's inspired you? Who?
Well, actually, I do have an inspiration. She's not on the world stage, but it was my aunt. And she taught me that there's nothing that you can't do, that, you have to open yourself up, believe in yourself, have, the self-esteem that you need to move forward. And that's why I decided that, I wanted to have an additional career. I retired, but that's not enough. So I can't just sit and watch TV all day or do the mundane things. I have to do more. Right. And coming from a background where I work in emergency services and helping people, then that's what I want to do. And I see this as a tool to be able to continue to do that. So I'm reinventing myself. I'm getting out there more. And last night I sat down with my family and we created our 2021 goals of what we want to accomplish. I did it with my son, my daughter-in-law, and my grandchildren. So,
I love it. And
my aunt taught me that.
And I'm going to assume, Carolyn, that your aunt has quite a story of what she also overcame to get where she ended up being. I can feel it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great story. And I don't know what it is, but I'll bet it is. I'll bet it is. So thank you for sharing that. So anyways, we are at 10 o'clock, Jenny.
Okay. Oh, golly, man.
I know. So we do have, and I got a bunch of great stuff going, for the next time, but I really want to encourage everyone to be there on January 7th. And, to be able to download the packet, we'll email them out to you. Okay. If you're watching from somewhere else, you'll be able to download it from a couple different sites, but you can go to any of these live feeds that you guys may be watching to be able to download it directly from Facebook maybe, or we'll have a couple of different places that we're going to be able to download this.
Nice, okay.
So, and it's going to be great, and it's just important that you guys
YouTube now.
do this. Oh, we're on YouTube. We've grown up. We're big.
So if you guys want to share this with anyone, please go to the Chuck Whitehead Show, and you will find a link to this and share it with
Look at that, we're growing up, Adam.
I know.
Finally. Thanks, man. All right, so thank you guys. Have a great week. Happy New Year. And you know what? Let's just make good things happen. And just treating people right, having purpose, and going and get it will lead to success. So, Jenny, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Tuning out. Everybody have a fantastic week. Thanks, Steffi. All right, guys. Take care. Talk soon.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Goodbye.